really excited. We'll start with our next company. We're going to do frost control systems, and so we'll turn the time over to them. All right, you're up.
Well, hi everyone. Thank you again for being here today. My name is Brad Tenner with Frost Control Systems. So the topic is going to be winter road maintenance. Did you know that there was 1,300 deaths and nearly 117,000 injuries caused by winter weather-related crashes in 2017? Despite this, cities are being forced to reduce usage of their #1 best tool for keeping roads safe, road salt. Road salt reduces winter weather-related crashes by 95%. The cities are under a tremendous amount of environmental and regulatory pressure, whether that's because of the Flint-led drinking water crisis, which the leading cause with the overuse of road salt, or more of a national issue with chloride contaminating all of our drinking water supplies and aquifers, or the environmental issue of many of our streams, lakes, rivers, creeks being almost as salty as the ocean. You also have the cost side of this. Cities, or the US, spends about $3 billion on road salt every single year, and the price of this commodity continues to climb almost 15% year over year. Just 3 years ago, road salt was under $50 a ton. Now it's over $75, a 50% increase. That's a problem when a city like, say, Lincoln, Nebraska, population 350,000, spent $4.5 million on salt last year. They have one of the most effective, innovative, efficient regimens in the country. And so cities have a delicate balancing act of safety, cost, and environment, and that's where we come in and help solve that issue. We increase the safety of the roads while reducing salt usage. It begins with hardware that we manufacture ourselves. Behind me is our road weather information system. It is a camera that measures the temperature of the road along with a few other weather conditions. We install these in bulk in the city environment. And then the next step is a software upgrade that produces targeted salt treatments based off of state highway standards. Why does this matter? Well, when one part of the road is 21 degrees and the rest of the city is somewhere between that and 38, some areas of the city need that salt a whole lot more than others. In fact, when the Indiana DOT adopted these techniques almost 11 years ago, mind you, they saw a 42% reduction in their salt usage and improved levels of service across the board. More recently, Maryland did the same thing and saw a 53% reduction in their salt usage. So why does this work? Well, salt is 5 times more effective at 30 degrees than it is at 20 degrees. So when you're seeing 10 to 15 degree variations across the city, there's quite a lot of work that can be done in placing the correct amount of salt. Right now, cities go out and they place a blanket maximum amount everywhere if they go out at all. The solution has always been very hardware focused. Behind me is our competitors that are out on the highways. These are $80,000 to $150,000 pieces of equipment that run about $20,000 annually to maintain. They've tried and failed to create products more focused towards municipalities. This one is $30,000 and still runs $12,000 annually to maintain. This is where we've succeeded in the municipality and the county space. Our patent-pending optical system lets us have the same laboratory quality sensors at a fraction of the cost of even our lowest quality competitors. And so we've seen a lot of traction because of it. This year we're going to have paid contracts with 40 cities. In fact, my schedule right now is so booked out from September all the way till December for installs that we've been forced to push about 20 to 30 of those cities out till next year. We're very lucky because the city and the county industry is just one of many verticals for this product, and I'm happy to say that we are getting our first 10 sensors out to a school district this year through a partnership with the world's largest reinsurance firm. Our priorities as we move into next year is really focusing on conversions of our paid pilots. We have about 35 of them this year. When a pilot converts from a $10,000 contract to a full contract, normally that's about a 20x increase in revenue for us. We're really trying to focus on getting some dominance here in the Midwest region. So Michigan, Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Indiana are all top states for us, but we are having contracts, some pilots out in some strategic cities like Seattle and Boston, and even up in Canada with Winnipeg. The goal being to show that we are a highly capable provider of this service, not just locally, not just nationally, but also on the international stage. From a market opportunity standpoint, the total city and county market, right now about half of our clients are counties, is $125 million annually. When you start to include some of the commercial, some of those other verticals, that jumps up to about $500 million, all US alone. Typical ROIs on our product, by the way, are best measured in months rather than years. Sometimes they can go as high as 10 or 20x for some of the cities that can fully adopt the system. Our revenues for this year, we're going to be cash flow positive this year, net about 30%. Typical grosses are between 65 and 75% and will continue to climb over the life of the company. Future development, we have a number of sensors that are in development for this year, next year, and the year after that vary across all sorts of road weather adaptations. And these are deployed also in the city, but in a little bit less dense networks, but are good add-ons. From an investment standpoint, we are raising $2 million. The valuation will be set in October once we've kind of finalized the deals that we're doing this year. We have about 75% of that covered by our previous investors already, but we're leaving about 25% or $500,000 open to strategics that want to come on board. What that means to us are firms or companies that focus on, Series B, Series C investments, getting that in early. That was really successful for us in our first round of financing. And then also focusing on firms that would like to help out on the hiring side. We're hiring nearly 3 individuals every single month for the next 3 to 4 months. So with that, all right, that's one more slide. So my background was in municipal contract. I've had half a decade with it already, primarily in the smart city technology sphere. So fiber optic and cellular and the various different spaces that go with that. Patrick, he's our head of sales. He was the North American sales director for Underwriters Laboratory, UL, the safety certificate company. We also have our board of advisors and our board of directors. The directors especially is filled up with individuals that have started and exited their own sensor companies valued $25 million or more, multiple for some. As we wrap this up, I just want to end it with a quote from a city here, our favorite city, South Bend. And it really kind of highlights what we do. It's not about the money. It's not about the success. It's about safety. Making sure that we are preventing accidents and hopefully saving lives in the process. Thank you very much.
All right, our next presentation is going to be Canvas Pharma, a topical drug for hair regrowth. Dr. Gupta.
Thank you. I'm Suren Gupta, and Harry is with me, Harry everyone. We are Canvas Pharma. We're dedicated in developing drugs for hair growth. As we know, it's a common problem. 1 out of 4 people in the United States and worldwide will suffer hair growth problem. I'm 1 out of 4. It's a common problem from young to old and male to female. So, what is the solution today? There's not that much. This is a drug which is more popularly known as Rogaine, and some of you might have used it. It has been there for about 15 years. It works for some people, it doesn't work. You have to use a lot. So it has not been worked as well as people thought, but still, today it's still selling close to $1 billion in sales. The next one, this came out a few years ago. Finpasia is a small oral tablet. Lately, it has a lot of side effects that have come to the light. It was supposed to be a magical solution to it, but it's not. But they still have $200 to $300 million market as of today. Of course, the hair transplant is common. But as you saw, there's really no great solution to it. So what are we going to do for it? Okay. Around 5 years ago, there was very first paper came in December, and then more publications confirmed it that there's a protein, a stem cell protein called beta-catenin. If you activate that, okay, that's promotes hair growth. So we thought if we can develop compounds, especially small compounds, which can activate, we have something in our hand. So we started it, we spent 3 years on it, and developed 4 small molecules. And spent a little over $2 million in it. And these 4 compounds are all patentable. We have not filed a patent on it, but we will be, as you will see when we'll file the patent on it. So these are the 4 compounds which we have. We have already shown in the lab, they do activate beta-catenin protein, and that's the one responsible. It's the stem cell protein, which is known now to stimulate hair growth. The way it works is, it's pretty simple. Your hair growth, they go through 2 phases, transition phase and in the end resting phase. Resting phase means now you're losing your hair. But if you can activate the stem cell protein beta-catenin, they can grow back. That's the simple mechanism how this will work. We, after doing the animal experiment, we decided we wanted to do a quick experiment to show can we translate this to an animal model. So we did one experiment. This is a control, the back of the mice. You can see that once you shave, there's no growth there. This is the Rogaine. You can see some spots there. There's some growth there, but not. And with one of our compound, this was the growth. So it's phenomenal. So we think that we are on the right track. We have not tried yet. We have 4 compounds. That's what this company is going to be all about. Want to talk?
I've been using Canvas for 4 years. So you can see the difference.
And this is the control.
This is really unusual for me. Usually I'm on the other side of the table, but this product and this organization has been so exciting that I thought I'll work for the company, take a lead, and see if I can help in raising some funds. Market, when you go through Notre Dame pitch and they talk about how big is the market. So this product really has a very, very large market, and it impacts men, women, children. My son has alopecia. And really, the company has spent a little over 3 years and $2 million of their own money to develop 4 molecules, which do show significant amount of promise. So what I want to talk about is market, the management team, and when you give us the money, what we do with it, and how much will you get back. So let's, here is the competition, and Rogaine is, as you heard, it's over 15 years old in the marketplace. It does work. I know a number of people who use it. And this product was developed before the research came out and talked about beta-catenin, which was in 2013. Since that research has been published, no new drug is available in the market. That doesn't mean people are not working on it. They have been working on it, but there isn't one which is in the marketplace today. Semumed is a company which has number of product is worth about $200 billion, and it is working on a product which would activate within other things, beta-catenin and Canvas. We already have 4 molecules which would do that. Now the test which you saw on the mice, it was done in the lab, and I call it, when you do it internally, the conditions are not very controlled, and it's just to try it out. Does it work or does it not work? Should we go further or should we take people's money? So if you look at background, Dr. Suren Gupta used to be in town for a long period of time, over 25 years. I have known him. He used to work at Miles. He had started a diagnostic company called GDS, and then about 10 years ago, he moved to California. Steve, he's the one who developed these 4 molecules in California. And a little bit about me, because I wanted to raise some money on this project. I am gonna be controlling the money which you give us and use it wisely, or I should say invest it wisely. It's really not my space, but I've been following the company for a little over 2 years, how they have invested funds, how they have developed compounds, and how they have conducted testing. So one of the exciting things about Canvas, which is, to me, is very exciting because this company is going to be based at Notre Dame, and it is going to be an Indiana-based company. It is a company which is going to be run out of California or any other place. It's a Delaware C Corp. And it's a virtual company, which means that most of the money which is going to be invested is going to be at the contract research organizations who will conduct the work for us. We're not going to have our own lab and hire scientists and all that stuff, and not be able to buy state-of-the-art equipment, but it will be contracted depending upon what we are trying to achieve. Either it's animal testing or FDA approvals. So now we talk about how much money. We are looking for $3 million. And the pre-money value of the company is $3 million. So the post value of the company is going to be $6 million. And what we want to do is, for my sake and for the sake of everybody who invests in this company with me, we want to validate which of the 4 compounds is the best compound and we should move forward with it. Once we validate that one of the compounds is the best compounds, then we're going to revalidate those studies on mice to ensure that this is the best thing. If at any given point in time between the study and while we have invested $100,000, we find out that somebody talks about, oh, this is a snake oil, then we will not be spending any more money, we'll just close shop. So there are decision points which we are going to be making. So let's say out of the 4 compounds, we found one which works very well. We find the percentage of it and we test it and it works well. Then we are going to file patents at that particular time. No use to invest money and spend money on patents and GMPs unless we have found out that something which works or works very, very well. And please understand, it's a topical application, so it isn't a pill or something which goes into the bloodstream. A lot of complex things which would happen. So once we have product formulations, GMPs and everything, then we're gonna do toxicology study to ensure that this medicine helps you grow hair and only grow hair and there are no other side impacts. Being topical drug, the probability is low, but we still need to know before other people try it like I am. So we just want to make sure that it's good. And once we have that, then we are gonna go into FDA submission for the products. As we are submitting the FDA in US, concurrently, there is a possibility that we would try and ask other countries to do the same study in parallel, which will give us some more funding and validation that the product works. So it is possible the product may be approved in Japan, but we may need to do some more work in US or Africa or India or China. That's what we are trying to look at. Less than 20% of the money is going to be used for management and travel and consultants, but most of the money is going to be used. So $3 million, which will be invested over 3 years, and the return, I think it will be maybe 5-fold, maybe more. What is the timeline we are looking at this? So we want to get started to validate the compounds and then revalidate it, get formulations done, and get toxicology study. Once we are done with toxicology study, at that particular time, we would have invested a little over $1.5 million. And we're gonna keep the rest of it for FDA approvals. We are looking at a Series B financing, which will be about $10 million. And at that particular time, the valuation should be significantly higher. For people who are looking to invest and have a time horizon, we are looking at exit between 5 to 6 years, no more than 7 years. By that particular time, some large pharmaceutical company would come in and either license or buy the organization. So, thank you.
Just want to add, when they exit to a of clinical trial. Currently, most of the pharma companies who have been evaluated in phase, they are from between $200 to $500 million at that point, just to give you an idea. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Turn the time over to Generis.
Hello, my name is Lindsay Roberts Brasington, an ND, MBA alum and founder of Generis.
And I'm Dr. Amy Stark. I'm actually faculty here on campus. I'm the director of the DNA Center here, and I'm the chief science partner for Generis.
Have you ever wanted to lose weight, increase your energy, or simply sleep better? Well, I know I have. Growing up a competitive swimmer, I was physically fit, yet struggled with my weight, energy levels, and was mildly depressed. After visiting countless doctors and trying what felt like everything, I began to get more and more discouraged with little to no results. I was not alone. It turns out millions of us are looking to improve our health and wellness. Yet unfortunately, the one-size-fits-most approach often ends in failure. Today, thanks to DNA technology, personalization is now an option. In fact, 26 million Americans have already done direct-to-consumer genetic testing, and you may be one of them. The problem is that after initial excitement, millions are left asking, now what? I was one of these people and sought help. It turns out I was fatigued due to a genetic variant that causes my body not to absorb vitamin B6 very well. With this insight and countless others, I began to make better lifestyle choices every day. I began looking better and, more importantly, feeling better. And based on my experience, Generis was born. Generis is a personalized health and wellness platform powered by your DNA. We're on a mission to empower millions to improve their lives by turning genetic data into action.
Generis translates DNA data into personalized and actionable food, activity, and supplement plans to enable users to reach their goals. Generis is powered by our proprietary algorithm, Generis Intel, which combines genetics, nutrition, and exercise physiology. Genetic variants affect how our body absorb nutrients, burn energy, and build muscle. 45 of these markers are included in our initial product. Each marker was selected based on its proven ability to affect a specific outcome in peer-reviewed literature.
So how does this work? First, you download the Generis app that will be available on the iOS App Store next month. Then you download your 23andMe or Ancestry.com file, and you simply upload it to Generis. Within 24 hours, your results are in.
Okay, so the demo is not apparently going to work. But we have a demo, so I'm getting the waving side. So we have a great demo showing you our headlines and how the app works. So succinctly, without the video, we have after a user logs in, after getting their 24-hour upload window, they'll get 3 headlines from each of our 3 workflows in food, activity, and supplements. Those 3 headlines are going to be the 3 most impactful things that they could look at. In each of the headlines, you can click through, you'll get the genetic marker, you'll get the information on why this was recommended to you, you can get more information about each marker, how you compare it to the average population, those types of information. You can then go back to the home screen, look at each of the headlines in supplement, food, and activity. In supplement, you actually have the opportunity to purchase right there on the screen. In food, we provide food plans. We give you a macronutrient breakdown, as well as recipes and food preparation for 3 meals a day and a snack. And in our initial product, we have 2 meals built in already. And then in the exercise flow, we give a global exercise recommendation, as well as quick and longer workouts with visualizations built in which look really cool. And we have them on our phone if you'd like to talk to us afterwards. Mike has them on his phone. So please, we're really proud of the product and disappointed that it is not showing it at this moment. Underneath the 3 headlines, you can go to the 3 flows and you can actually scroll horizontally to see all of the different cards and markers that are there. And on each card, you can click on to get more information about the gene, about the genetic variant, and all of that information to make it very user-friendly and accessible. And then we have a second tab that is our store. So you can click on the store and see all of the supplements that we offer. The ones that are recommended based on your DNA are at the top. The next level is going to be those that are recommended to you based on your goals. So we have goal recommended supplements, and then we have all of the other supplements in case someone is already interested in a specific supplement, they can also purchase it right through our app. Okay?
Perfect. Yep. Thanks, Amy. So we generate revenue by bundling DNA interpretation and testing and ongoing food and activity subscriptions. This allows us to continue the conversation with our user, and it also serves as a differentiator for us, as most competitors focus on a one-time transactional relationship based on only DNA interpretation. As Amy mentioned, we sell the supplements we recommend in partnership with Thorne. Thorne is one of the most respected supplement companies in the U.S. We are targeting those people in the U.S., men and women ages 30 to 54, who have had their genes tested for our first product and are looking for non-diagnostic and actionable health information. Based on 26 million people today, this brings our initial beachhead market to $187 million. By 2021, it is estimated that over 100 million of us will have our DNA tested, which brings our initial market opportunity to over $750 million. As mentioned, we've completed our first round, built our first product, which goes to Apple approvals next week, and will launch on the iOS App Store just next month. We have a seed round planned for December with initial traction coming from now till then, allow us to get early data and that early traction. And
So we are always looking for the opportunity to build our network. If you know someone who's in this space that might be helpful for us to talk to, we would welcome the opportunity to connect with them, whether it is electronically or however. Lindsay is based in California. I am here, so we are very adept at different ways to interact with people.
yes, and if you've had your 23andMe or Ancestry.com and say, hey, I'm up to test it and learn more about this, we'd love to set you up on our early beta as well. So our name, Generis, comes from Latin and means unique. Please visit generisapp.com and be generous. Thank you.
So I'm Stephen Beekler. I'm the founder and chief scientific officer of Diagenomix. Diagenomix develops diagnostic tests that help take the uncertainty out of treatment decisions in cancer. Our methods uncover the molecular programming in a tumor that determine how it responds to treatment. That's how we do this, but why we do this is to save lives. This year in the US, 51,000 people are expected to die of colorectal cancer, making it the second deadliest type of cancer. While there are many FDA-approved drugs for treating colorectal cancer, by the diagnostic methods available today, most cancers look very much the same, and following the guidelines are treated with the same drug. But as a result, 1 in 3 patients will die of the disease within 5 years. Searching for better outcomes, researchers recently discovered that colorectal cancer is not really one disease, but it divides into 4 distinct cancer types, called the consensus molecular subtypes, or CMS subtypes. And further research has shown that the best treatment for a tumor really does depend on the CMS subtype. Well, this is information that doctors should be able to use to better target treatment of their patients. However, today, determining the CMS subtype of a tumor is so complex that there is no commercially available diagnostic for CMS subtyping. To fill this gap, we've invented the diagnostic test Colotyper for CMS subtyping. Colotyper measures the mRNA in 40 genes using next-generation sequencing and does not require any special tissue handling. Colotyper is executed using the same tissue extracted from the tumor for other diagnostic tests and reports to the doctor the CMS subtype of the tumor. The doctors can then use this information together with today's best medical research to give their patients the most effective treatments, leading to fewer deaths with less suffering and lower healthcare costs. Why is this so important today? Well, the body of evidence is rapidly increasing that in order to pick the most effective drug for a patient, the doctor really does need to know the CMS subtype. For instance, in a clinical trial study published just in April, it was shown that an anti-EGFR drug actually lengthens the lifespan of a patient with CMS2 disease, but shortens the lifespan of a patient with CMS1 disease. Colotyper will enable doctors to know which patient should get that drug. While there are no commercial diagnostics for CMS subtyping today, there are CMS tests in research use that could potentially enter the market. We understand how those tests work and can show that Colotyper is 20% more accurate in subtyping colon cancer. We've set $4,500 as a list price for Colotyper. This is comparable to the price of other complex multi-gene assays in solid tumor diagnostics. That gives a total addressable market of $2.9 billion for the US and EU, with $384 million as the SAM for our beachhead of stage 3 and 4 US patients. Colotyper was first presented at American Society for Clinical Oncology Gastrointestinal Cancer Symposium in January 2018 in San Francisco, and then featured in an article of the ASCO Post. We filed our utility patent last spring, and in July, we showed that our prototype clinical test has 95% agreement with the gold standard CMS subtyping tool used in research. This establishes the viability of Colotyper as a clinical diagnostic test. Looking ahead, we've mapped out the large-scale validation study and related activities we need to get regulatory approval as a laboratory-developed test. That sets the stage for a commercial launch by April of 2021. Looking past our commercial launch to how do we get adoption, how do we get traction in the diagnostic community. A key component will be a team of key opinion leader oncologists with whom we will collaborate on research studies and who will then present our findings to peer doctors at international meetings. This will build confidence in Colotyper among the oncology community and also build the evidence that payers want to see in order to grant reimbursement. I'm the founder of Diagenomix, the inventor of Colotyper, and currently professor of applied and computational math and statistics at Notre Dame. When I retire from the university in June, I'll be joining the company full-time as the chief scientific officer. We are searching for a CEO with the experience needed, with the experience of molecular diagnostics needed to make us a success. So if you see this woman, you let me know. We are asking for 1.1 million to fund us to commercial launch. The key milestones there are to build our partnerships, get our executive team in place, and do that large-scale validation study we need for regulatory approval. That will open up a lot of doors. With that, I thank you.
Okay, take a minute. Last one, if you could give us some comments, please, on Diagenomix, if you have connections to that CEO we're looking for, or other ways to help move that company forward. We'd love your feedback. Okay, that was our last presentation. Thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate your time and attention to what we're doing. Please feel free to stick around and talk with our inventors and founders and entrepreneurs. There's still food available down here, and then obviously love to have you stick around and stay for the lunch and the speaker and the rest of the afternoon's activity. So again, thank you very much. If you don't have the right t-shirt size, you can exchange them in the box over there and get the right size, and then you can rep the Idea Center. Thanks so much.